Hey race fam, Brian Davis races and you can too. Today we are going to the iconic Downers crit race. I'm very excited about today. I'm mostly excited if it doesn't rain down there. So the chances of rain went from 80% to now we're about 40% in Milwaukee. So we'll see how that works out. This course in the rain would not be super rad. Okay, today we're gonna change tactics. Today I had a talk with my wife, I had a talk with my coach, and essentially they said the same thing. Stop being a little baby cakes. If there's a break and you can get to it, go for it. If you get dropped, who cares? If you can't pull through in the break, who cares? Just do what you do. Just do that. Fail gloriously.
This race will sprint competition midway through. On past 20 minutes. You okay? Riders, you're going to go on the chief referee's whistle. We will say, riders ready?
Well, race fam, it definitely rained. So as we were standing on the start line, it started pouring, and right before we took off, it relented a little bit. So yeah, it's wet. But the thing about racing in the rain is as long as it's been raining like all day, it's really not that big of a deal as long as you drop your tire pressure. So my tire pressure, I think I put at 56 and 59, and that seemed perfect. I felt like I had grip for days. I had no issues. The couple of issues I did have were brakes. That my carbon rim brakes are awful, as everyone's are. In the rain, they just, if you don't know this, carbon rims with the cork shoes that I use, you have to clear the water before you get to the brakes. So I would start braking right about now, well actually a little bit earlier than that, to clear the water, and then you could finally apply your brakes. And I had my levers down to my bars, so I was pretty nervous about the braking situation in the first lap or two. And a lot of racing in the rain is just getting over your fears and your jitters and getting used to it, because you know you're going to get used to it. You just have to give it some time. All right, so here we are a couple minutes into the race, and the timers, it starts early because I hit the lap button on the Garmin, so it hasn't taken us 3 minutes to cover half a lap, just so you know, but it doesn't matter later, but just pay attention to that. So we're going to be racing 60 minutes today. They had a delay earlier in the day, so they had to shorten some of the previous races. That crash of that gentleman in the 2-3s race, he got up, he was fourth wheel, like next thing I knew. As soon as I looked back at that race, he was on fourth wheel, so he's just fine. And that's a little preview of what's coming to yours truly, Brian Davis Races, and Brian Davis Slides Across the Pavement. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming up. All right, so as I mentioned, my plan for this race was to try to do whatever I could to try to join a break and to just be more aggressive in the race. And I definitely feel like I accomplished that. This race, my normalized power was 293. Yesterday, or the day before this race, was 289. And then the 2-3s race earlier in the week was 289 as well. So for me, that's a lot. The average wattage was 356. And that's a lot for me. So just the raw average. So the normalized again was 293, I believe. Yep, 293. Okay. So a few minutes into this is just after the first lap, and this is going to be a first, or that was kind of a first move that I tried to join. So there's the first effort. And I like where I'm at. I'm at the front of the race. This is where I need to be. Even I got over my rain jitters pretty quickly. But if something's going to go, it's going to go early. And it's obviously going to go, you need to be in the front. So this is my thought process. And this is what I'm trying to execute on, is doing what my plan was, which, again, I feel like I did really well. I mean, the results of the race, not super duper. But there's a little bit of a story to this race. So I finished 22nd out of 40 some odd. I'm not sure. Is the end result of the race, but there's again, there's more to it throughout the race. So funny thing, as I was talking to my wife about this concept of just join the break, stop being so and essentially it comes down to being intimidated. So I was actually thinking back to my first maybe not my first, but one of my early Cat 5 races. There was a guy in the field, he had huge legs, he looked like he was super fit, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get crushed. And it's so funny how that and I didn't, right? Like, I'm sure I did just fine, or maybe I even beat the guy. Let's just, for the sake of the story, say I finished ahead of him. that intimidation stuff, I don't know. For me, I guess it doesn't go away, because there was a guy yesterday or before our first race in this series. I see him roll by. He's got these ripped legs and he looks like he's in great shape. I'm like, man, I'm going to get crushed. Hey, I'm not going to get crushed. I'm fine. I can ride with these guys just fine. So some of it is just getting rid of that stuff. Now this one's interesting. So I jump on the back of this ABD rider, and then there's an ABD rider. I don't know if he's coming across or blocking. I guess this looked more interesting and fast. So when I edit these, I put them in really fast forward. Yeah, that's not very interesting. Oh, that was a donkey label rider. It wasn't ABD. I take that back. All right, never mind. Bad clip all the way around. All right, well, here I go pulling. For what reason? No one knows. No one knows. Definitely not me. So stop doing that. There's 390 watts, 400 watts, and I'm accomplishing absolutely nothing. So there you go. Don't do that. All right, here's a little split. I'm going to go up the road, join this. It's a pretty good group, I think. I think we're 10 minutes in. Usually there's a bit of a lull in a race between 10 to 13 minutes. So this is, timing-wise, is pretty good to jump up there. But they lost their impetus right as I joined them. Okay, fair enough. And this corner, I can't emphasize enough, was just so... I don't think anybody crashed on the corner, but it definitely got your attention. There's a little water meter plate and a manhole cover plate, and it's a greater than 90-degree turn. So, and you're coming into it from a little bit of a downhill. Oh, there was a car on the course. That was super fun. But everybody took care of that wonderfully, so thank you, race organizers. By the way, shout out to Tour of America's Dairyland. What an organization to pull all this off and pull it off so exquisitely. It's just super impressive. I'm very grateful for all the work that they put in. Truly, truly grateful. And all the volunteers that come out on a day like this. Like, man, hats off to you all. I really, really appreciate it. All right, so let's see. I got another clip coming. Oh, I tried to join this group. So I did this a lot, joining a lot of little groups. I really felt like Downers typically does not have a breakaway, but I thought, well, today would be the day. If it's pouring down rain and these turns are the way they are, somebody's going to have a slow turn that's going to hold up everybody else, and a group can get away. All right, here's my moment of glory that turns to disaster very quickly, very, very quickly. So Cliff Bar rider up the road. This guy likes to brake, and everyone knows it. So, okay, well, I'll go, and then maybe we'll get a few people to join us. So I go up there and give a little shake. So I also got Brad Soner to announce my name. I heard that as I went by. So pretty much that's the whole series for me. I got my name announced. So I'm good. I can probably hang it up the rest of the week. Yes. So we get a little separation here, and it's like a significant separation, actually. And the timing of the race, as I was watching the footage after this, as I'm editing down, there was a huge amount of race where people weren't going completely nuts. So the timing of this was pretty good. Now, our gap looks pretty small right now. And
fail gloriously.
Yeah.
Fail gloriously.
And
Fail
here's where everything
gloriously.
goes. So he comes around, and right when he comes around, I look back at the field to see what's going on. And I clip his wheel. Totally my fault. Totally my fault. And thankfully, no one else went down as a result of my idiocy. So just me, hit the deck, slid out, didn't even rip my kit, but I did get a nice strawberry on my butt and a couple on my elbow. So now, this is a little lesson if you're a newer racer. After you fall, don't try to jump back on the bike and chase down the group. You're never going to get them. So you do get, we're well into the free lap territory. So my immediate thought is, I got to get to the pits. I don't think there's much wrong with my bike, but you never know, right? You just never know. So you got to get it checked out. Something's probably wrong with my brakes. I better go get it checked out. But really, I need a rest. I desperately need a rest because, I'm tired from the effort, sure, but I'm also like, I just need to get my head together, right? And I did bump my head pretty good, but helmet was fine. All that was fine. Body was fine. Bike was fine. Everybody's fine. Carlos was coming right at my head, but he avoided me, which was great. Thank you, Carlos. And all's well that ends well. So I get to rejoin the group, and I'm feeling pretty stoked up with adrenaline when I get back in the group. Of course, the first few laps, I'm like, oh gosh, this is brutal. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But after I got the swing of a few more laps, I was like, you know what? I'm good. The bike's fine. I can handle, actually the mechanic did fix the brakes. The brakes were way better after the crash, so I had way more grip because he tightened up the pad. So kudos to the neutral mechanic from SRAM. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm back in the group, 34. Now we're up to 41 minutes. Again, I'm trying to join something. I'm trying to bridge this gap. Go with the riders I know I should be going with, or that are going to obviously do well in the race. So this is I'm proud of myself for sticking it out there and doing what I need to do. So good job, Brian. I think I accomplished the goal of the race today, was to race aggressively and try to join the break, and I feel like I gave that a pretty passing grade. All right, we're going to do a couple fast forwards, and then we'll be getting down to the last lap shortly. So I felt way better in this race. My heart rate was down significantly versus yesterday. My power was up, so my normalized was up a couple watts. Heart rate down, power up. This is all really good news. I felt much more comfortable today, despite the rain and all. I mean, everybody's dealing with the rain, so whatever it is, what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I really can ride at the top level with these guys. I just have to execute at the right time. So I shouldn't say wasted. I used a ton of watts doing these little attacks and separations, and none of them worked, but that's okay. That's what I'm working on, right? But eventually I give up on this tactic and I shoot myself to the back. You'll see here in a minute. And I just have to rest. So I have to be realistic with how much power I have. And so we're at 47 minutes, and I did a couple of those fast forward clips where boom, 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 a lot of efforts right in a row. So now I got to rest. So I pull myself out of the line. I go to the back, and I'm honestly thinking about dropping out of the race. There's 12 minutes left, and it feels like an eternity. I don't know if I can do this, but I talked myself back into rejoining the group, and I'm glad I did. So I get an opportunity that's pure luck in the... Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to show. It's just a lot of this of me riding at the back. And all right, so we're cutting to the last lap, and my legs are cramping. I'm feeling like death warmed over. I was, contemplating with 3 laps to go if I can even finish the race. But I stuck it in there, and now we're on the last lap. And this is interesting. It gets super, I'm like, I know this is going to maybe happen. Well, I shouldn't say I know it's going to happen. I'm hoping that this happens. Like, maybe it doesn't get strung out on the last lap, and maybe I can work myself back up to the front-ish. And that is exactly what happened. So super lucky, because it was a hard race. There was lots and lots and lots of straight lining in this race, like tons of it. I cannot believe we didn't get a separation or really a break, because there was a lot of people that were making this race very difficult for a lot of people, but everybody apparently works out, so there you go. All right, now I'm happy with myself for this. I think this is the moment. No, maybe this isn't the moment. Dang, this isn't one to go. I'm messed up. Oh, it is one to go. Yeah. So this is the last lap. I am correct. Okay, this is the last lap. It's hard to tell because we slowed down so much. But this gives me an opportunity to get right back up to the front group, right? I mean, I'm 1, 2, 3. I'm like 10th ride, 10th wheel, maybe 12th. I don't know. Pretty good with 2 corners left. And then I gave up a few spots. Not good. What I really should have done is focused on what wheel I'm going to follow, because I got all excited and I thought, well, I can go for the sprint at this turn, which was stupid because it's a really long sprint. So I sprint on my own for whatever dumb reason instead of joining into those wheels. That little group right there, I could have joined that group. I could have followed that red sleeved rider, and I would have gotten many places ahead of what I ended up doing. So that's okay. Had fun, and we'll live again to race tomorrow. So thanks for joining. Please comment, like, subscribe.